Hi, I hope you can hear me. I have been having problems with my Wi-Fi this morning, so if it drops, let me know and I will rejoin from my phone. Oh, we got lots of people coming in at the last minute. Amazing. Really nice. So this video is being recorded. I will get it up for you on the YouTube channel so that you can have a look yourselves and you can replicate it, copy it on your own at leisure at any point. So we're going to start by taking a few warm breaths to just kind of welcome us into the week, especially on a Monday. It's really, really impactful just to take a beat before you go to picking up your phone and replying to messages and whatnot, just to, my day, my time, take it into your hands. So let's start side on in a child's pose today for our breaths. Everybody can find their way down there together. And we're just going to take a minute here in total. So child's pose, if you're not familiar, I'm pushing my hips back to the heels. I'm reaching long. I'm bringing my torso down in between the knees, belly, boobs, letting it all come down there. And then lengthening through the arms, soft shoulders, and just breathing deeply. Forehead on the floor. And maybe you can feel your rib cage and your lungs there expanding at the side of your thighs. Just a few breaths more. And good soft, where we're looking to warm the body, but we're not going to up the intensity too high. We're all about recovery. So last few people entering the class, better to be a couple minutes late than not manage to make it. So no problem if that's you 1 week. I don't have any problem welcoming you in. Good, perfect. So let's come from this child's pose into a side bend. And you're going to press out the side of your back like you're separating the rib cage from the hip. So a side bend through there, sweeping across to the other side bend on the other side, keeping the hips nice and low. Inhale, exhale, and just changing sides again. Reach to the opposite corner, hips back. And I'm going to show you a different couple angles here, and then changing side, reach across. Great big stretch for the side, back, and the shoulders. Inhale, exhale, and then one more time, either side, reach, press out through the side of the back. Exhale, come down. And one more time, and such a nice start to the week. Awesome. Now I'm going to bring my hips up over my knees, and I'm going to go for a thread through. So I'm going to thread the needle. One arm comes underneath, gazing up, coming back, and then changing sides. Really simple, few movements to get us started. And I don't know about you, but it's kind of just second nature for me to close my eyes when so if you can, or if you want to, letting the eyes stay closed, letting it be a nice, gentle wake up. And reaching. And one more on each side. Coming back. Last one. Perfect. So in your quadruped position now, or tabletop as it's otherwise known, 4 points, maybe you call it. Fingertips spread. I'm going to stretch the back out a little bit more, pull the elbow back, and then I'm going to reach long and slide along the outside edge of my arm. Pull the elbow back, a bit of tension between the shoulder blades, and then reaching long, slide the pinky finger across the mat, looking out over the other shoulder, and you should get a really big stretch up the lat. So if you've been doing pull-ups, if you've been doing any rows, which I would imagine most of you in your programs have been in some way, then this is a really nice one just to release there. Exhale, reach. One more time. Inhale, pull back. Open the chest, maybe a bit of a twist, and then reaching. and second side. So some of you will be starting on the home body program for February today, which is really cool. So this is a nice way to get you moving. Good way to improve your general range of movement is to mobilize frequently and move often. Pull back and reaching. I'm looking over that other shoulder. Inhale, pull back and reaching. It's a nice day outside. I can see the sun coming through. I hope it's not interfering with the view of me too much. I might have to close those curtains up. Good, and coming back. So hips over knees again, and we're going to reach long for our puppy dog pose. So puppy is similar to child. The main difference is that instead of the hips being on the heels, knees are over, hips are over the knees. So we're reaching from here. And I'm just going to drop to one side and then the other, rocking back and forward. So I'm thinking about my shoulders and upper back here. You might feel that the chest starts to come down towards the floor. You're just rocking through. Maybe the chin is tucked one way or the other. Lovely. So now forehead finds the floor here and arms forwards. And I'm just going to go for my light lift off, trying to keep the arm completely long and straight. So lengthened arms, knees over hips, maybe tucking the toes to keep your lower portion anchored, but not essential. I'm going to rise up the arm, floating down, and then changing sides. Light lift of the arm and planting. Rise and lower. So we're starting with the upper body here. We've done some quite nice soft movements, and now we're moving into some control work. Try to hold for 3 seconds and then release. And one more on each side. Lovely. Now sweeping your hands to the outside of your hips for baby camel. Plant the hands, squeeze your bum, lift the chest and lift the hips up off the heels. Lift, come down, and then you're going to reach nice and tall. Bring the hands back down. So we're thinking shoulders and chest, this nice anterior stretch. See if you can bring your elbows up in line with the ears. Reach to thumbs back and then sliding the hands to the floor and lifting. So big squeeze of the bum. You might feel that stretch in the thighs. Hands come down. Excellent. Oh, I've got sore thighs today from a long walk yesterday. It's amazing how great exercise it is sometimes on a nice day as well, on a sunny weekend, just to get out and about. So 2 more here. And it is definitely, it's a workout, like a long walk is a workout. Lovely. One more. Looking forward to some nice cycles in the spring. Good, last one. So sitting on your heels as long as it's comfortable. And if it doesn't feel super comfortable, then maybe you can bring your heels either side for your kind of super heel between the legs if that's a bit better. But what I'm going to go for here is a really simple twist. So hands to opposite knee and reaching back. Coming to the front and changing side. Hand to opposite knee, reaching back. Coming to the front, hands to knee, sweeping behind you, open the chest. Coming back, and you might feel a couple of clicks or crunches in the shoulder as you reach. It's almost like a half car you're taking the shoulder through. One is always stiffer and crunchier than the other. And I'm just going to clean these slightly better because it is quite bright out there. Good, hopefully that's a little bit better, a little less disruptive. So hand to knee, reaching behind. So we're starting to work our way down the spine. Lovely. So turning side on, coming back into your tabletop. I'm going to go for a segmental cat-cow, and then I'm going to come up into a half pelvic tilt. So let me show you first. So forearm position, your segmental cat-cow, it's a little bit like your regular one, except we're going to start with the hips, drop down, piece by piece. Then tucking the chin piece by piece. Everything lifts. Try to imagine it like a wave, like a Mexican wave. And then foot comes forwards, hands to hip, tuck the hips under and come to rise. Nice and tall with the torso. Bring your hands inside, bring the knee back, and then coming back into your segmental cat-cow. So start, drop, 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 drop until the chest rises, and then in reverse, tuck the chin. Feel that great stretch, one vertebrae at a time. Opposite leg comes forwards, hands to hips, tuck your bum, scoop it under, tall torso, coming back down. And let's go for that again, twice more. So flexing the lumbar, the lower back as you lift your head. Take it in reverse. One foot forwards, proud torso. Coming up, tucking the hips. And then we're going for that last round here. Start with the tailbone, press it to the floor, belly button to the floor and into spine. And then reversing it, couple of clicks there, all perfectly normal. Foot comes forward, hands to hips, hip flexor stretch. So we're starting to work our way down a little bit there to the lower. Perfect. Now tucking one leg behind you. I really love this one. It's great for the spine, but you should also feel it in the hips as well. As I say, we're starting to move down the body. Nothing too stressful today. Knee open and tucking that back foot behind you ever so slightly. You can tuck the toe if you like. From here, I'm going to reach the inside hand down. Many people have done some with me before in PT, reaching up and then reaching up nice and tall. And depending on kind of what you do with your daily life and the kind of trail tight in different places. So for me, I've been working pretty hard on my upper and I can really feel that it's my shoulders that are tight in this one as I reach up. But maybe it's the hips for you if you've been sitting a lot. Last one. And then coming up, let's change sides. So opposite hip, opposite leg comes up, tucking that foot, reaching down, and then reaching up. And under. And because we're lengthening the side of our body here, that's what makes it a really good stretch for the low back, especially if you're kind of you sit cross-legged quite often, as I do when I'm teaching my PT sessions online. I find that I like to sit with my legs crossed, then I think, oh my God, what have I done? What is this tension in my lower back there? Good, one more. Perfect. Now coming up and then bringing the hands down in front of you, we're going to go for our half rockers. One leg extends out to the side, and many of us will know this one by now. It's a really simple movement, great for the adductors, but what we sometimes do is just kind of lean into our back like this. So if you can tuck your tailbone underneath again, slightly rising up. Imagine you've got that tail, you're pulling it through, from there pushing back. So your simple adductor stretch here, your rockers. Push the hips back, come forwards. So we want to bring some warmth to the inside line of the leg here. Your adductors is all otherwise known as. Two more. And then we're going to change it ever so slightly so we can feel that in the hamstring. So coming back to your starting position and then lifting the toes. So same movement, but this time the toes rotate behind up to the ceiling and you're going to push back from here. And what you should feel, the change in the sensation, is that now we're more focused on the hamstrings just by that slight adjustment of the foot. 2 to go. And one more, and again, hips are underneath. Lovely. Coming back and then changing sides. So same thing on the other side. Extend the leg away. Let's start with the regular rockers. Pushing back, coming forwards. So just as we did with the shoulder lift-offs, we are going to kind of move into a slightly more difficult lift-off position with the hips as well. So from here, neutral position, let's do that hamstring variation before we look at a little bit of a hover with the legs, trying to get control around the joint as well as range with the flexibility and mobility of muscles and joints. We also want to have control there. So sometimes we have to tense the muscles up in these different positions too, just like we did when we lifted the arm off the floor. So very similar, coming back to the first leg, we're going to lift the leg off the floor. So extend that leg out. You want the weight of your foot on the inside of the foot. So make sure it's kind of placed into the ground. Notice how much pressure is going through either hand. As you lift the leg, you're probably going to feel that you want to lean onto the opposite side because it's going to make it easier. We're just going to lift for 3 seconds, but we're going to do this 3 times. So I'll show you first as a demo, and then we'll do 3 together. So I'm taking a breath, I'm focusing on squeezing my bum, I'm going to lift the hip, and then I'm going to bring it down. Good. So now we're going to do 3 of those together. So really gripping your hands into the floor, find your balance, lifting for 3, 2, 1, coming down, and twice more. Lifting, 3, 2, 1, coming down. I know it will pinch and it will feel like it's cramping a bit. Last one. Lifting, 3, 2, 1, coming down. This is a great one for runners as well, actually. And let's change side. So what we're doing here is we're contracting the muscle on the outside hip. People talk about the glute medius, the glute medius, which is a muscle that helps us to stabilize the hip. This is one of the best ways you can kind of activate it. So here we go again. You've seen it now. I don't need to do the demo 3 times together. Lift for 3, coming down, and twice more. And generally, as women, because we have wider hips, it means that the angle from our hips to our knees is a bit bigger, which makes it harder to stabilize the knees. So it's even more important that we do a lot of hip stability work if you come into that category. Perfect. And coming down from there. So I'm going to scooch my legs around the other side. I'm going to take my knees, my legs nice and wide, my knees nice and wide too, ideally. And then I'm going to bend until for my really simple knee drop. So I'm leaning back slightly to begin with. Really simple. Draw that knee in, and it's like folding a napkin, folding a pancake. Drop it in, coming back. See if you could not just fold it all the way into the center medially, so in this middle line of the body, but also if you can pull it all the way back on the way out. So squeeze the outside hip again. Again, it's all about using the muscles to create more movement. Yeah, I'm loving this class so far. It's a really nice one today, nice movement, and a really nice group as well. So thanks for joining. And let's change sides. Same thing, drop the knee, pulling back, and just notice if your heart rate's lifting in any one particular movement. Sometimes when you're up and your heart rate rise, it's maybe an indication that your body's finding something quite difficult. So kind of refer to that when you're doing your own mobility and think, right, well, I was kind of sweating through that shoulder opener. So, okay, yeah, this week is all about shoulder openers. Excellent. So coming back to that first leg now, we're going to kind of try to lean upwards if you can. If you can't, stay seated backwards, and that's totally fine. We're going to do one of these knee drops. We're going to leave the knee there, and then we're going to lean forward ever so slightly over the straight leg and coming back. So knee drops, leaning forwards over that straight leg and coming back. You can lean back for the first portion if you need to, but if you feel that you've got the control there and you can sit upright, you've got enough range without your back curling, do so. If neither of these are working for you, and if your back is rounding lots, I would highly recommend just grabbing a pillow, bringing it under your hips, and it's just going to elevate you ever so slightly, and it's going to make it a little bit easier for you to go through both parts of the movement. Excellent. Last one. You should feel that it's up to you. Leaning back or chest up, knee drop and hamstring bow. So it's a half bow there. Knee pulls out and hovering over that leg. So similar feeling, isn't it, when you're putting weight through the stretch. We've got one more to go. Unusual feeling. It's totally different from just holding a stretch. Good, excellent. And then feet coming in together. So we're going to end here with a few stretches that are really quite restorative and that are good for releasing the muscles, let's say, as opposed to necessarily releasing the joint. You might feel the length in your back here, but with flexibility training, we are more focused on the muscles, and then with mobility, it's more about the movement through the joint. So a couple of flexibility moves here to kind of set you up for the day. So bringing the feet together, now you can slide them forward if you like, and again, use that pillow for a good reason if it helps. If you know you're tight in the hips and the lower back, grab a pillow, sit on it, and it's just going to make it a little bit more accessible. So I'm grabbing hold of my ankles, and then I'm going to reach over to one corner. I'm going to reach to the right side. So I've got feet together, and then I'm reaching over like I did in the beginning with my child's pose. From here, I'm going to exhale, and I'm going to come down. And every time I breathe in, I'm imagining that I'm coming up and over my legs. And every time I exhale, I'm just going to ease into that movement. I'm going to tell my body it's okay to relax here. You can let go. So inhale, imagine you're coming over and through that stretch. Exhale, just saying to yourself, it's all good. I got this movement. Telling your body it's okay to release here, that it's safe. 2 more breaths on this side. Inhale, hips are grounded. Exhale, sinking deeper, but the knees pull apart more. And one more time. Inhale, draping your body forwards. Exhale, releasing, and then slowly coming up. Let's sit up nice and tall. We're going to repeat that on the opposite side here. So same, I'm going to be a bit quieter this time, I know, imagine. And we're going to try to take the same kind of breaths. So reaching. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. Long body. Exhaling, soften. 3 more breaths. Maybe the hands walk further forward for the last 2. Maybe the chin tucks. One more time. And then walking back in. Really nice. So we're going to take full cow face to finish off. We've felt a little bit of warm through the outer hip, and we're going to go for just a little bit more with cow face. I don't know why it's called that, so you're asking the wrong person. it's a strange name, but it's a really good move. So ankle comes over the knee, you're stacking your hips. Again, you can sit on a pillow for this. Ideally we want both hips on the floor, but it might just depend on your physiology. If you've got short wee legs like me, it can be quite limiting. You can feel like you can't quite do that. So maybe ankle is on top of knee instead, or you could just unfold the bottom leg out from you entirely, and you could just have the top one over instead. So many options to choose from. So sitting up nice and tall, your full calf raise, we're also going to add in a shoulder bind. So I'm going to get you to bring, you've got your left leg under, and you're going to reach around from behind to grab the hand. Don't worry if you can't reach it. That doesn't matter too much. It's all about where you are. So nice and tall, lengthening up, and then you're going to begin to bring your weight forwards. And just exhaling, just breathing, staying long, just slightly leaning the weight into it, but you can stay pretty upright if that's more appropriate for you. And if this bind just isn't happening here, you can also reach overhead and clasp that there. So we're focusing on shoulder opening, combining that with hip opening. Good, I'm releasing and changing sides. Other hip underneath. Good, draw the ankle in nice and close. Oh, and I can already feel this story, like the other one felt okay, and this is very, very tight. So find those differences in your own body. Just speculate, lengthen up. A couple of tall, lengthened breaths. And then elbow comes up, either reaching behind or clasping the elbow just around at the top. Good, so we're focusing on shoulders, chest opening here. I see some of you taking variations that work for you, and that's what it's all about. That's exactly what I would recommend. So coming forwards.
Willow, I don't know if it's just me, but the image is frozen. So
I'm the same.
Okay.
Oh no!
That's
yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you let me know. It's hard to
Same here, yeah.
We're right at the end.
I know.
Oh, freezing. We're right at the end as well. That's a shame. What we'll do next time is I will be doing that from 5. Hopefully it won't be an issue. Hopefully it won't be an issue next time. Hello, Kitty, coming in. That's a joy. We're right at the end of the class, guys. So what I would encourage you to do now is either to stay in that pose for a couple more moments. I hope you can hear me okay. And we're just going to do a couple of breaths, so it's quite quiet time anyway. We'll return to child's pose. We're just going to take 5 breaths here, and that's us. Hopefully it won't be an issue next time. Hello, kid. We're right at the end of the class. To stay in that pose for a couple more moments, couple of breaths, so it's quite quiet. We're just going to take 5 breaths about our day. So I hope it's anyway, just to work on your breathing. I would highly recommend people stay for this part. I know it's just kind of breaths, but it's not just breaths, it's so much more. It's about saying, wait a minute, I deserve to stay still for a moment. Good. 2 more long breaths. On the side, or maybe you're coming any way that feels good for you, just any way that feels good. So I'm working on the Wi-Fi signal. I do appreciate it can be a little bit fuzzy on my end sometimes. Hopefully that doesn't disrupt us for future classes, but thank you very much for joining today. Oh, the Wi-Fi is going down. This is what happens when you've got people doing homeschool on the same network. So next week we will be on a different one and we won't have this interruption. Thank you everyone for bearing with it. I'm sure you all know how it is with the technology at home. So studio next week for sure, and on Wednesday too. So I will see you then. Any questions, just fire them away, and I'm working through doing your reviews of your programs from last week as well. So look out for comments coming through from me on True Coach if you're on PT plans.
Great. Thanks.
Brilliant, guys. I'll see you next time. See you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Sarah.